Hello and welcome to the Traveler Styles Meet My Guest. Today I'm going to talk more about river cruising in the United States with Rebecca Gonser and American Queen Voyages. Now, Rebecca had a passport and started traveling at the age of 6 months. She has lived, studied, and worked in England, Germany, France, Belgium, and India. She has over 13 years of experience working for such companies as Enchanting India, Expedia, and Europe Express. In November of 2019, she joined American Queen Voyages and, in her own words, has said that she has fallen in love with the relaxing art of American river cruising. Hey, Rebecca, and welcome.
Hi, thank you. I'm so excited to be here today. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Well, I'm so glad that you gave me the opportunity to talk to you. I'm really looking forward to this. This is river cruising is one of my niches, and so I'm excited. I'm gonna be like a sponge. Okay,
so wonderful.
And one of the things you did mention about your bio is that a relaxing art of American river cruises. Can you elaborate more on that?
Yes. So I know this is kind of like part one of three podcasts that we're going to do. And that's because our company is kind of made up of three different experiences. So our original experience and what I would love to focus on today is our beautiful American paddle wheelers. So whenever you are ready, I will dive in and just kind of talk a little bit about how the company started, a little bit about these different experiences, and then just kind of jump into the relaxing art of cruising on America's rivers and why it is so important. So as Alyssa mentioned, I am the regional account manager for American Queen Voyages. So I only work exclusively with travel advisors. The travel advisor community is very important to us, and we always recommend when booking travel, any kind of travel, that you consult with a travel advisor, and you have one here today. So I'm very excited to be here. So American Queen Voyages, we used to be American Queen Steamboat Company and Victory Cruise Lines. And last September, we took the two divisions of the company and we brought them under one umbrella as American Queen Voyages. So we are luxury, boutique, all-inclusive, small ship cruising. So when I say small, our smallest vessel is 166 passengers. Our largest is 417. So even in our largest vessel, it's considerably smaller than the large cruise line. So that's something, again, when I say relaxing, I mean, you're not having to wait in lines to get off the boat and things like that to go into port. So it really is a different experience. So we really offer an intimate, hassle-free, relaxing along the American rivers experience. So, and that for the paddle wheelers. So we are part of a much larger organization, Hornblower Holdings, which is one of the largest maritime organizations in North America. And I primarily, and what I'm going to talk about here is just the overnight cruises division. So you can see there, they've split the experience out by river, lakes and ocean, and expedition. So this is our beautiful fleet here. And again, just like our boats are boutique, we are boutique as well. We really focus on these specific experiences here. So on the top line there, you see our four beautiful paddle wheelers. That is the river experience side of the company. We have the American Queen, the American Countess, the American Duchess, and the American Empress. For our lakes and oceans, we have our coastal vessels, the American Voyager and the American Navigator. Voyager and Navigator, they're doing all 5 Great Lakes. We cover the Canadian Maritimes, the entire Atlantic coast, and the Yucatan Peninsula. And then last but not least, we are launching Expedition this year. So 2022 is our inaugural Alaska sailing. That's going to be on the Ocean Victory. And then in 2023, the Ocean Discoverer will join us. So exciting. Again, those 3 experiences, the rivers, the lakes and oceans, and the expedition. And today I just want to focus on the river experience. So where do we sail? This map, again, kind of overview. Everywhere you see a little red dot, Those are all the different ports that we call into throughout all those divisions and experiences of our company. So I'm going to start with where it all began. So this is the American Queen. She's our flagship vessel. John Wagner, our CEO and founder, he saw the Queen and he basically purchased her. She was in a pretty bad state at the time that she was purchased, and he saw her as this beautiful, historic, iconic part of American history, and he wanted to save that and restore it. So he purchased the American Queen, painstakingly restored her. She is the largest steam-powered paddle wheeler in the world. She is a true steam-powered vessel. That wheel you see on the back, on the top deck there, she has a steam-powered calliope. And then her engine room, which you can actually go visit, has to be oiled every 20 minutes. So you are getting the full, I know you're getting like the full experience. We have the engine room bar. You can grab your drink. You can walk down to the engine room and you can learn about how a steam powered paddle wheeler works.
So you actually have someone there that oils
yes. Every 20 minutes has to be oiled. So you can actually go down and you can do a tour and you can learn about how that works. So, and that's something I love too about our company is that you really are, I mean, we're immersing you in history through and through, especially on this particular vessel. And I like to start with her, and I like to start with the river experience side of the company, because again, that's where we started. I know the pandemic has been really tough. It was really tough on a lot of these small towns that we go through. We'll look at those when we kind of look at the maps of the rivers and things like that. But, you know, when you sail, when you go and you travel by river, you are really helping to revitalize those small towns. And it's a great experience. Again, you know, we are revitalizing our own economy, and we're learning about our own history, which is a really just a really wonderful experience. So the paddle wheelers are American flagged, American built, American owned, so you don't need a passport. So any of the river experience and paddle wheelers that we offer, you don't need a passport to travel. And you have a full American crew as well. So it's different than European river cruising or big ship cruising, where you have kind of like a big multicultural crew.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, because we're American flagged and American built, we, we have to have a fully American crew. So everyone there is full-time employees. So you don't have any of these kind of 6-week contracts. Everyone has full benefits. Everybody's fully vested in the experience that you're going to have on board as well.
Okay. And can you tell us how many people are you able to take on the American Queen?
That's a great question. So the American Queen, because she is our largest, 417 passengers. So that's our max capacity. That's if every room is filled at their capacity, because we definitely have some solo travelers. We're good for solo travelers. We have solo travelers that will travel with us. We have a number of single categories on board each vessel. And then of course, solo travelers can also occupy double occupancy rooms as well. So you may not get fully 400, maybe you'll have 350 or 360. But the way that the boats are laid out, it never really feels crowded. I think there's a very good ratio of space and public space to number of passengers and number of crew. So there's always special places you can go and kind of relax around the boat. So,
and how many, I'm going to say floors is there?
Yes, so the Queen has 6 decks. The Queen and she's the largest. Yeah, most of the boats are about 4, but she has 6 decks because she is the largest. And I'm going to show you some pictures of her as well. But I want to get into a little bit on the inclusion. So I mentioned we're luxury, we're boutique, but we're also all inclusive. So let me just tell you a bit about those inclusions. So every single cruise is going to come with a pre-cruise hotel. So you're going to have your pre-cruise hotel. Most cruises are about 9 days. So it's 7 nights on the boat, 1 night at the pre-cruise hotel. So when you add up the days, it comes up to about 9 days. So you'll have that complimentary hotel. The next morning, you'll have complimentary breakfast. We also do luggage handling. So when you check in on board, your luggage, your keys, your welcome kit, everything's going to be waiting for you in the stateroom. And then we also include your embarkation transfer. So from the hotel to the boat on day one of the cruise. We're including all of your meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, lots of snacking opportunities. And then we also have complimentary 24-hour in-room dining. So you can get your 5 a.m. carafe of coffee, you can get your midnight snacks, whatever you want. We have that available. And then we've also recently partnered with Halprin's Purveyors of Fine Beef and Seafood. So we are offering cold water lobster options every night, as well as USDA prime beef options nightly. No reservations, no upcharges. We just really, that's part of our kind of elevating the luxury experience that your guests will have on board. So our dining is fantastic. All of your beverages are included. There's no beverage package to buy, no water, coffee, smoothie package. Everything's included. And now we used to just do beer and wine at dinner. We had like 4 or 5 beers and a few wines. Now we have this amazing extensive list of wine, ciders, beer, cocktails. If you don't see a cocktail that you like, we've got spirits to kind of make your own, and we're open bars and lounges. So that's new for us starting in 2021. We started doing that. We do have nightly entertainment. So this is where we differ from European river cruising. We have a dedicated entertainment space. We have a dedicated entertainment team. So every evening there is a show. We also have our engagement and enrichment program, or education and enrichment program, in addition to that. So you'll have your nightly show. It's kind of variety style, so it changes. Might be big band one night, might be blues and jazz another. We do try to kind of curate it with the itinerary as well, where your guests, where you will be sailing. And then the enrichment program, we have a river Lorian on board all of our paddle wheelers. So that is our river historian. He's literally there to just enhance the experience of you, of your guests. He spends a lot of time in the chart room or hanging out in some of the other public areas. And then every afternoon he'll give a lecture, and that will either have to do with the next day's destination, or it will have to do with science, technology of the river, or if it's seasonal, maybe fall foliage or bird watching, or it really just depends on the particular itinerary. And then we do include all of your sightseeing in port through our hop on, hop off buses. So you can see that beautiful bus there. We own those buses. We purchased our shore excursion partner in 2020, Reserve My Excursions of America. So we have all of that kind of going on in-house. These buses are fantastic. They've got beautiful panoramic windows on the side, huge panoramic window across the top. We have chair lifts on all of our buses, so we are well equipped to take care of accessible travelers. We have ample storage space under the bus as well to store walkers, strollers, wheelchairs, scooters, so shopping. If you're buying any big shopping items, we can keep it on that bus too while we get you back to the boat. And then the first 5 rows are going to be dedicated to guests that need a little extra time.
Now, how often do you stop? Is it every day that you're in port, or is there a lot?
Yeah, so I think I have, good. Okay, I was gonna say, I think I have a map here that I can show you. Such a fantastic segue to this next slide. So yes, every night you're gonna get turn down service, regardless of the category you're in. You'll get turn down service. You're gonna get one of these hop on, hop off maps, and it's gonna show you where we're going the next day, all of the included attractions, what the map, how to get there. And those buses are basically going to run in a 15 and 20-minute loop. We usually have 2 buses that will basically drive alongside the boat down the river as we go through this itinerary. So you're going to have the same buses, drivers, and guides throughout. It's very flexible. We want you to feel like you can curate your own sightseeing. We give you these options, all of these places where you see the little star. Those are all your included attractions. So we've taken care of your entrance fee. We've got little bus stops in front of the museum or historical home or whatever it is. So you can take the bus, you can go in the loop, you can just walk right off the boat and go into town and stop at those places. They'll be waiting for you. We also have bicycles on board that you can take out. Okay. So if you're super active and you want to just go in, you can also just go into town and do whatever you want. You don't have to necessarily hit up all these places, or maybe you're really quick and you hit them all up in the morning and then you want to do something in the afternoon. Now we do have, so all of this is included.
Okay.
But we do have, in addition to, and this is pretty much ends my segment on the inclusions, we do have premium shore excursions and other sort of experiential excursions that you can take and you can pre-book and purchase. They usually range in price from $79 to $129 per person. They're available to book 180 days in advance. And those are going to be things like cooking classes, zip lining, some of our battlefield tours. We offer golf in a lot of our ports of call. So those are more kind of experiential. Some of those are like half-day experiences. So we kind of consider those as an addition to what we already have included on the hop on, hop off. So again, for that, you know, you would go to a list, you go to you, guests would go to you, and go through what the different options are, and they can pre-book that with you. They can also book it on board, but we just always recommend pre-booking because you never know. Some of the excursions are quite popular, like our Hell's Canyon jet boat tour. That one kind of almost always sells out. That's in the Columbia and Snake River in the Pacific Northwest that we offer.
So whenever you are on these excursions, okay, so you can actually take, do them all in the morning. Then what do you do in the afternoon? You said the excursions, and then at night.
Correct.
Now, if you wanted to go back out, like in the evening, say there was a place there's like, man, I'd love to be able to go there and maybe eat, or maybe it's a bar that you want to go to. They are able to do that.
So we don't stop in port. We don't overnight in port at all of the destinations. So I would say, yes, that's an option when we're overnighting in port. And we would know whether we're overnighting in port about 30 to 45 days out. The only thing about the river is kind of like a living, breathing organism. It changes, it's high, it's low. So sometimes whether or not we can be overnight in the port has to factor in some of those as well. So when we are spending the night in port, definitely, you know, you get a little cruise card when you check into the hotel. We have our own little check-in area as well, where we give you your embarkation timeline. We'll give you your cruise card, and you'll just swipe your card on and off. So we make sure we don't leave without you. But yes, you definitely, to answer your question, yes, you definitely can kind of do your own thing. As long as we're in port, we'll let the guests know the schedule.
And you also brought up another good point, how the river is. It can,
yes.
One day it can be high, it can be low. You may have to maybe detour.
Like, it happens.
Lower. Yeah, I think that's a
yes.
great point to bring up for people that are wanting to go on river cruises, is that they have to understand, as you said, it's a living thing. It has
yes.
its own mind, and sometimes things do change. That's beyond anyone's control. It's Mother Nature doing its thing.
Exactly. And I would say the benefit of us owning those buses and having them there with us the whole time is, let's say we have to deviate and we've got to like dock somewhere that's maybe 5 miles down the river from where we normally dock. It's okay. We can take people. We've got those buses. We can take people. We can still, visit the port and do things like that. So we always have, that's a good thing. Like you said, it does happen. We always have a backup plan to make sure that there is something fun and exciting that you get on your vacation with us. I did want to talk about suite amenities. We do have all kinds of different room categories, but our suites are pretty special. If you're in any of our upper level suite accommodations, you're going to get Commodore service. It's kind of like butler service. You will get to go on board an hour before anybody else. We will unpack and pack your luggage. We do laundry, pressing, and shoe shine services. You're going to get reserved show seating. We talked about how every evening we have entertainment, so you'll have your own reserved section. I'll show you when we get to the Queen, because I am going to go through the different boats. The Queen actually has a 2-level theater modeled after the Ford Theater on her. And if you're in one of the suite levels, you get your own box seat. It's really, really neat. So we'll reserve you to that. We'll escort you to that reserved seating. And then you also have pre and post dinner canapes and suites that will be served in your room. So the suite that you're seeing on your screen, that is our locked suite. That's in the Duchess. We have 4 of those on board, accommodates 4 adults, has 2 full bath, has a wet bar, has a separate sitting area, and a beautiful floor to ceiling window. So that's our loft suite on the Duchess. But it just kind of elevates your experience, just kind of gives that extra special white glove service if you are in one of our suite categories. And then I wanted to spend a couple minutes talking about themed voyages. All of our itineraries are great, but your themed voyages are just going to give you that little extra special lanyap, I guess you could say. It's going to give you extra experiences and a little bit more bang for your buck. So our most popular theme cruises, we have wine cruises in the Pacific Northwest, where we are including special wine parties and tastings. You're going to special wineries that we don't normally include. We're going to have wine pairings with our meals, special menus, special speakers that come on board. So those are our wine cruises. We do wonderful holiday cruises. We basically do every holiday. We do July 4th, where we have Lee Greenwood come on board and sing his famous America song. We also have our Veterans Day cruise. We have several different holiday cruises that we offer, a Thanksgiving cruise and our kind of Christmas New Year cruise as well. We do different music of the decades cruises. We have history and culture cruises, our wonderful bourbon tasting, blues and barbecue cruises. And then last but not least, our Kentucky Derby. We do a special Kentucky Derby cruise every year. The Kentucky Derby is very important to us. But even if you're not on the Kentucky Derby cruise, I'll segue to a premium shore excursion that we have that's very popular. For those that can't make it on the Kentucky Derby cruise, we do a behind the scenes Churchill Downs premium excursion that you can do on any of those cruises. So those are the theme voyages. If you are part of a church, part of a group, maybe you're part of a crocheting and quilting group, we have a cruise for you as well. We have a wonderful cruise that goes to Paducah, Kentucky, which is where the National Quilt Museum is. It's a UNESCO creative city. So it's a great way to put a group together. If you are a person that likes to travel in a group, this is a great way to start a group. And again, if you're traveling on your own or FIT, it's a wonderful way to just have new experiences on the river as well.
So do you actually go to the races on your?
Yes. So
okay, so that's included.
Yeah. So for the Kentucky Derby cruise, we have 2. So you will get to experience the Derby, but we also have a VIP package that you can add on to that. The VIP package that we offer, it's about $1,999. It is going to include VIP seating. You get access to the VIP tent, which has its open bar and hors d'oeuvres and full meal at the VIP tent there with the Kentucky Derby. You do get a behind the scenes tour of Churchill Downs, and you get VIP transportation from the boat to the Derby as well. So the VIP experience is like that. This is my once in a lifetime. I'm only going to go to the Kentucky Derby one time. I want to have this experience. But then we also, for just anybody who's on the cruise, we're going to have a Kentucky Derby party on board. We're also going to have, you're going to get to experience the Great American Steamboat Race. So the Great American Steamboat Race is really neat. It happens at the same time. So the Kentucky Derby cruise is on the Countess, and the boat that we have racing is the American Duchess. So I know we haven't gone over the boats yet, but I'll point them out when we get to that. Okay. But yeah, so your guests will get to experience a lot of fun activity during that cruise. And then, like I said, if you are wanting that once in a lifetime VIP, get me to the top experience, you can have that VIP add-on package. So
that's great. That's great.
Yes.
That's definitely a perk.
It is. It's fun. It's something different. I feel like when people travel these days, they really want to go home with a story. So we even say it's, our storied rivers, because there are so many opportunities for stories when you're sailing up and down the river with us. It's exciting. It's fun. So now I'm going to talk about the different areas, the different rivers that we include, and the boats that we have sailing those rivers. So first up is the Pacific Northwest. So this is the Columbia and Snake River going through the states of Oregon and Washington. We are basically following in the footsteps of Lewis and Clark. This cruise is about the scenery. We're going through Hell's Canyon. We're going through Columbia Gorge. Everywhere that you see those little black lines, those are different locks that we go through. And we do have one lock that we go through, the Sioux Lock. Alyssa, you and I were talking about this earlier, about people like coming out.
I know. I can't believe it. It's like a big thing.
It is. It's a big thing. And that, again, kind of like circling back to, when you sail these rivers, you are bringing economy and tourism and visitors to these smaller towns. You're really helping to keep the rivers and those river towns vitalized by just being there and visiting. So especially last year, like 2020, after March, kind of it was all closed down. And as soon as we got those first cruises out in 2021, and even now, like some of the cruises that we have going out where it's like, oh, we're going to this port and no one's been here in 2 years, or no one's been here in a year. It really isn't. Like the mayor's coming out, and people really want to show how excited it is to have life back in their town. So I know anyone can really relate to that. So as I go through the slides, I'll have some pictures of some of the smaller towns, and you can just kind of look and see where you're going to be going and how exciting it is for the towns as well. So Pacific Northwest, we are Columbia and Snake River. We're doing Multnomah Falls. We're going to Fort Clatsop. Every single room is a Riverview stateroom. So this is the beautiful boat that you'll get to experience the Pacific Northwest in. Her name is the American Empress. She is the largest paddle wheeler west of the Mississippi. So the only paddle wheeler we have that's a true steam powered is the Queen. So this, although it's not a true steam powered paddle wheeler, it is a real paddle wheel. So it does function. It does add about 4 miles per hour to the speed of the boat. And you get that wonderful lapping sound anytime that you're kind of further at the back of the boat, but really beautiful. And as you can see, she's in a gold rush era decor. So we are fully immersing you in the Lewis and Clark feel and the times of that day, but you'll still have all your modern amenities. We do have, you can see she's multi-leveled, multi-decked. We do have elevators to all the decks on board. This is on all of our vessels. So we are accessible friendly. We have the elevators to all the decks. We do have true ADA rooms. We don't have very many. So if you need a true ADA room, accessible room, you want to ask for that right up front and see if you have availability. But we do have assistance bars in all of the bathrooms in the guest rooms. And then we do have public bathrooms on board as well that will be wheelchair accessible. And as again, like I said, she's got these beautiful antique furnishings. You can see here the show lounge, our dining hall, and then this beautiful room that you see with the stained glass windows along the top. That's our paddle wheel lounge. So open bars and lounges. We've got lots of little hidden like nook and cranny bars and lounges and things like that, where you can just kind of relax and listen to some music and grab a drink. So that's all we have out in the Pacific Northwest. Now we come over to, I would call it our bread and butter. This is what we call America's heartland. We cover the lower Mississippi between New Orleans and Memphis. And I feel like when people think about, Mark Twain era, going up and down the Mississippi in the paddle wheeler, this is probably the stretch of the river that most people are thinking of. We are going to, you can either start in Memphis or start in New Orleans. Some of the boats just kind of go back and forth there. We're including Nottoway. We have the exclusive port at Nottoway, which is one of the oldest, largest sugarcane mansions of the South. So we are really, and if you're doing any of the holiday cruises, we actually do a big gala at Nottoway for all of those holiday cruises. We also include the upper Mississippi between St. Louis and Minneapolis. Here you can see some of those small towns that we're going through. And then we do have a cruise where we do the entire length of the Mississippi, the mighty Mississippi. It is 16 days. So I mentioned earlier, most of these cruises are 9 days. So 7 nights on the boat, 1 night at the pre-cruise hotel. The full Mississippi one is 16 days. So 14 on the boat and 1 in the pre-cruise hotel. And then we also cover the tributaries. So this is the Ohio River, the Tennessee, the Cumberland, and the Illinois. Ohio River is super popular this year. We've got a lot of wonderful fall foliage cruises in that area. This is where we have the Kentucky Derby. This is where we do our bourbon cruise. Because I feel a lot of people don't know, well, what do you see and do over there? They know kind of Mississippi and what we do, but there's a lot of really exciting destinations and itineraries that we do on the tributaries as well. So all of these rivers, the Queen, the Duchess, and the Countess are going to sail. So I'm going to focus on the Queen first. Largest steam powered paddle wheeler in the world. So again, this is that original paddle wheeler that our CEO and founder bought and kind of fell in love with and wanted to revitalize and not kind of lose this historic, beautiful historic boat. So there you see the top left-hand corner, our beautiful theater modeled after the Ford Theater. If you're in one of those suite categories, you get your own box seat, which is a neat experience. We have our JM White dining hall, which has been modeled after a cruise dining hall from the 1800s. And then you see our steam powered calliope. So again, the Queen and the Empress, I like to kind of compare them because they're both have that historical boutique experience to them, which is very different from the next two vessels I'm going to show you. So if you want to do, the Mississippi and the Mark Twain style, I think the Queen is for you. If you want that historic experience, if you are more into a boutique, modern, contemporary experience, we have the Duchess. I would say the Duchess is probably our most luxurious vessel. She is almost all suite. Again, has that traditional paddle wheeler feel on the exterior, but she is contemporary, boutique, beautiful in the interior. Only 83 staterooms. We do charter this boat sometimes. So if you are into getting a big old group of your friends together, the Duchess is a great boat to charter.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, it is because it's 83 staterooms. It's wonderful. And that's where we have that loft suite as well. So there's 4 of those on board. Now the Countess, she doesn't have any suites. She's 245 guests, 123 staterooms. I think when we first kind of built her, we thought maybe she would be a boat, like a group boat, but I would not pigeonhole her to that at all. She is absolutely gorgeous. She's our newest paddle wheeler. She had her christening and her inaugural sailing last year in April of 2021. And as you can see, she's got an art walk. She's like a little art museum on board. You can see here her show lounge. And again, lots of these beautiful public spaces where you can just kind of sit and grab a book or look out the window or listen to music, grab a drink. So that's the American Countess. So all three, the Queen, the Duchess, and the Countess are all going to be sailing in the lower Mississippi, upper Mississippi, and those tributary rivers that we talked about. And then I did want to just kind of give a quick highlight. I know I talked about our theme cruises, but we also have some special cruises this year in that New Orleans to Memphis, New Orleans area. We added 4 new sailings, and Regina Charbonneau, who is our culinary ambassador, we call her the Biscuit Queen of Natchez. So she's from Natchez. She has a cooking, or her home in Natchez, and she has a cooking studio in Natchez. So we're offering cooking classes complimentary to any guests in the suite categories on these cruise dates. And then for all of these cruise dates, Regina Charbonneau is going to come on board, throw some flour in the air, and she's going to do like a toast with biscuits and champagne as we all kind of depart Natchez. And then John Wagner, our CEO and founder, he is going to be the guest River Lorian on the June 12th departure. So we always do things like that. I feel like that's something wonderful about our companies. We're always trying to find ways to kind of make the cruises and experiences different and unique. And again, give you some stories to take home. So I do want to just mention some safety features. And again, this is all as of, what is today, Tuesday, March 29th, 2022. These things can always change. But right now we are a fully vaccinated product. So all our crew, all our guests do need to be fully vaccinated. We are going to include a COVID-19 antigen test at the pre-cruise hotel. It's included. We're not charging anything for it. We'll be administering it. If for some reason you don't want to take that test, we will accept proof of a negative antigen test from a third party with results from within 2 days of embarkation. So keep in mind, these protocols change. For the most up-to-date information, people are going to want to reach out to you, Alyssa, or check our website under those safe cruise protocols. because I'm hoping people will be listening to this podcast even a year from now. And then this is just our brag slide. We've been so fortunate to win some wonderful awards over the last few years, and I love to just kind of give a little shout out to some of these awards. And then next time we talk, I would really like to get everybody excited. We're going to talk about the Lakes and Ocean experience. This is our Ocean Navigator, formerly Victory 1 and Victory 2, formerly Victory Cruise Lines. And we'll talk about Mackinac Island, and we have some wonderful round trip Montreal cruises. And so lots of things to talk about there. Great Lakes, Canadian Maritimes, and Inland Coast. So
and I like this the Ocean Navigator. And it seems like it is like a very up-to-date type of cruising ship. It has that design. It has the look about it. It looks like it definitely has those little boats that you can put down into the water, and I'm sure those can zip in and out of different places.
Exactly. Yes. And so I'll give just a little kind of background on the Victory Cruise Line side of the company. So the paddle wheelers we kind of always had, and we were, that was how the company started. In 2018, we purchased Victory Cruise Line. So they were a totally separate company. We purchased them. We went in 2019 and we renovated the vessels. We had a season in 2019, and then 2020, it all kind of stopped. The Victory, the Lakes and Ocean experience, those vessels are not American. Those are international vessels. So they do have to touch Canada. So whereas we don't need passports for the paddle wheelers, you do need passports for these. But we didn't sail last year. We didn't sail at all, any of the Lakes and Ocean vessels last year. So we have already had our inaugural sailings this year. We do a wonderful, I don't want to give too much away, but we started this season with our newest itinerary, and it's a Yucatan Peninsula cruise. So I really feel like the Lakes and Ocean have a lot of surprises that we'll talk about, but that's where we started. We started with a Yucatan Peninsula cruise this year. It was extremely successful, lots of incredible feedback. So we'll definitely be doing that at the end of season and next year as well. But basically what these two ships do, and they're ships, they're not boats. Like the paddle wheelers are flat bottom, they're boats that go on the river. They've got the big wheel. These are totally different. We call them coastal vessels. They are literally like small ships, and they accommodate just about 200 passengers on board. Okay. Yeah. So again, it is that boutique, intimate kind of experience that you'll be having, which is great for coastal vessels. Because again, like we saw on that map, all the different little places on the Great Lakes, all the little places down the Atlantic coast, because it's small, we can really hug the coast and kind of get into some of those little areas. And that's also, lastly, I know we'll talk about Alaska, but that's another advantage. So I think to take away what I would want people to kind of take away from this podcast, and probably the rest of them that we do, is that it's luxury, it's all inclusive, and it's small ship cruising kind. It's an intimate boutique experience that you'll have with us, which I really feel helps set us apart. Being boutique also allows us to have more flexibility as well, and have that ability to kind of be like, hey, now this cruise, we're going to have so-and-so come on, or, just that ability to create itineraries with destinations that aren't normally included for larger vessels.
Okay, well, I'm looking forward to that. I think.
Yes, I know.
I know. Whenever we were first, I was like, "Oh," I said, "You got to talk about Alaska," and you're like, "No," and I'm like, "Oh,
next time."
Next time. I was like, "Okay." I am an Alaska girl, so I like Alaska. I really do. I also like the. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm going to have our expedition, one of our expedition experts come on for the Alaska podcast. That's going to be an exciting one, because I want them to really talk about what we kind of do on the day-to-day, because the Alaska is really different from both the river and the Lakes and Ocean. Rivers, lakes, and oceans, we're going into port like every day. Every day we've got a different kind of experience you can have. You were talking about overnight ports as well. For those Great Lakes, we do overnight. We've got overnights in port with Mackinac Island, Montreal, Chicago, Toronto. So those destinations, we already have kind of an overnight program. I'm sure we'll start to do that more with the rivers and some of the other destinations. But the Alaska, the expedition, totally different. It's like 4 or 5 land-based days, and everything else is marine-based. We've got partnered with Cal Polytech. We've got research going on. I mean, it really is zodiacs, kayaks. It's a really kind of neat experience, and one that I think we didn't really talk about demographics, but our demographic for the river cruises is probably 55 plus for the Pacific Northwest, 65 plus for the rest of the river cruises. I would say Great Lakes is probably about the same, but Alaska, I feel, because of the sort of expedition and adventure style, we definitely can accommodate and attract kind of younger travelers as well. So more active travelers as well. So I'm really looking forward to the launch of our Alaska product and to talk to you about it.
Well, good. I'm looking forward to it. Do you have anything else that you would like to say before we end this?
I mean, I would just say thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. Thank you, everybody who's listening, for taking the time out of your day to kind of go through this and listen to it. And I would just say, if you have any questions, please go to Alyssa. She can answer all your questions. If she doesn't know them, she'll come to me and I'll answer them. But just really looking forward to and excited to get people back on the rivers and kind of get people excited about domestic travel and just travel in general. I think we're all ready to get back out there and travel the world.
Yeah, I know I definitely am. So I want to thank everyone. And I also do want to thank you, Rebecca, for coming on and giving us so much information, and looking forward to everything. And of course, if you do need anything, please give me a call, message me, email me, whatever you need to do. And I will make sure that I will get you on the right cruise so that you can have your vacation that you have been waiting for almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years.
2 years. So with that, I do want to thank you again, and you have yourself a great day.
Thank you. You too.
Okay.
Bye-bye.